Shalom, I'm gonna make this real quick. This is a response on the news of a Othal Wallace, which that's not even a Hebrew name, Hebrew Israelite cop killer. And this was, I don't know if Sam at Dell TV put this up first. And well, no. There had to be a interview with the infamous Vocab Malone, who worships this team, because that's idol worship right there. Anyway, he had the guest on, which was he was a former member of the ICGJC, headed by Tazadakia, the so-called God sent comforter. And he broke off from it. From what he said in the past, I don't know if it's still true, he has family members that are still a part of the ICGJC, which is the Israeli Church of God in Jesus Christ, which the Most High is not dealing with that church at all, because they have God in the acronym, and G and C, which is Christ. When you go to Google and write the word Christ, go with images, it'll show you the Caesar Borgia, the so-called white Jesus, which we're not rolling in that spirit. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to make this long. I'm on a bit of a lunch break, but anyway, this is a San Miguel TV. If I remember, I'll leave it in the description. Othal Wallace, Hebrew Israelite cop killer. He was not a part of GMS, and I don't believe he was a part of any of the One West camps. He was a guy, the whole Israelite thing is so, what's the word that I can use? Ubiquitous. Look that word up. That, at one time or another, you came across a video, and a lot of people identify with that, even though they don't come full in. They identify the fact that they may or may not be Israelites. But what I did was, let me let you listen to it, and I'm gonna show you this. Let me bring this up. So I went to Google. I put in the name Othal Wallace, which is not a Hebrew name, and this is from heavy.com news. This is the first thing that came up, or maybe one of the first things, but I'm going to get into it. And I'm going to put in a couple of words to show you that he's not an Israelite. Number one, he's not in GMS. That's first and foremost, because you're not going to have no guy from GMS looking like this, with these dreads, with these dreadful dreads. And by the way, the word dread and dreadlocks means dreadful. And he's a man, obviously. Now the scriptures, the Apostle Paul spoke about a man having long hair. That is a shame unto them, and they should not have long hair. But it's a glory to a woman. So Paul was getting on the Israelites. He was talking to the Israelites. They knew that there were Israelites living in Corinth, and he was talking to Israelites that came into the fold that were labeled uncircumcised or heathens or Gentiles, like Cornelius. Cornelius would be identified as a Gentile, but he was an Israelite. And then he woke up, the Lord, the Most High led him to the truth. He's in fact, the Israelite, opening the door for the Israelite Gentiles to come back into the fold. I mean, you can read about that in Acts, the 13th chapter. You can read the whole chapter. The main part you can read is the 40th verse on down. How the Jews were envious and hateful towards these Gentiles that kept coming around to listen to Paul. But those Gentiles were actually Israelites coming back into the fold. We were all Gentiles before we came into this truth. Unless you were born, unless your parents were Israelites and they raised you up as children to be Israelites. If you don't have parents that raised you up, or you didn't come from a Hebrew Israelite, background, then you were a Baptist, Methodist, Jehovah's Witness, Muslim, Pentecostal, Protestant, Roman Catholic, if you're part of the Latin tribes, right? So that's how people come in. Now, and people coming into this circle, whether it be, GMS, IUICI, SUPK, any of those groups, I can go on with the alphabets, HODC, LOI, the list goes on and on. And then there's break-offs of camps that broke off from One West. They set up their own camps, and then you had break-offs like GMS. One of the major break-offs was Sakari. All right. So, Israel, the fact that this guy, used terms, he was not a part of a school, because they would have had it, he was a part of the IUIC or whatever. Anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, first of all, the hair. Anybody in GMS that has this matted hair, cut it off immediately, or do not come to the camp. Okay? Well, I got it cut kind of, no, do not, we ain't dealing with nobody with no matted hair looking crazy. And this is the scriptures say, learn not the way of the heathens. Where in the scriptures, please show me in the scriptures where Israelites had matted hair that looked like this. Dreadlocks. There is nowhere in the scriptures. Oh, well, Samson, Ezekiel had they had braids. And Samson had braids because he was under the vow of the Nazarene. He was a Nazarite unto death. So his hair, he didn't have dreadlocks. His hair didn't look a hot mess like this right here. I'm gonna say it again. You need to cut this matted mess if you have this, whether it's long or short. If you got matted hair, if I can't put a comb through your head, you out, my man. So I suggest you buy a razor or a trimmer and go to hacking and see what jumps out of your head. Snakes, birds, all kind of spiders. We don't know what the hell's in your head, man. Anyway, let me go to this here. What I did was I put in the origins of dreadlocks. See that? See this right here? See Gad, oh my goodness, even Gad had dreadlocks. And they were clearly went off. They were eating horses too. They were eating horses, they were eating dogs. When they would capture some of the tribes, when they would capture the so-called white men, before they kill them, they would pop them a couple of times. Inside joke. All right. Jake, it is a fashion statement to Jake. These are Elamites. It's a fashion statement to Jake. But in actuality, it's a heathen custom. What does Jeremiah 10 say? Starting from the top, learn not the way of the heathens. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that. Like I said, I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to, keep with the discipline here. Jeremiah. When you come into this thing, you come in as a new creature. You in the world, you got long flowing hair or dreadlocks, and then you come in with that shit that you got from the world. Well, the galleys like it. Let's go to 10 Jeremiah 10. Okay, this is who it's addressed to. Jeremiah 10 verse 1, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So anything you read beyond that, it's talking about Israelites. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Okay, so this is one of the customs of the heathen, the whole Christmas tree thing. So, but let's look up the word heathen. So growing dreadlocks or having them matted up here, that's the way of the heathen. Now you got brothers that have tattoos and some sisters, and that, and you know, it's impossible to take it off. So we can't tell you to cut your arms off. Learn not the way. Learn not the way. Let's look up the word way. The rock. Way, road, distance, journey, manner, direction, manner, habit, way of moral character, of course of life, manner, habit, way. Custom, you can put in custom. And then when you look up the word heathen. Gowaya, which are the other nations? Nation people, usually of the 9 Hebrew people. Because Hebrew people do not have dreadlocks. Hebrew friends don't let other Hebrew friends rock dreadlocks. You have to cut them off immediately or do not come to the camp or you will be asked to leave. And this is like an order. Even before I come to the camp, you brothers see a guy like that, he got to go. No long hair, no dreadlocks, no matted hair, no practicing of the heathens. Now, if there was a way to rub them tattoos off you, you would have to rub them tattoos off on you. The tattoos go back what? To what? The way of the heathen. But the Lord winked at you in your ignorance. Nation, people, usually of the 9 Hebrew people of descendants of Abraham. Now the first son of Abraham was Ishmael. He's a heathen. The laws are not for him. He's gonna learn the laws in the kingdom. The second son was Isaac, which the Lord was dealing with. He had 6 more sons by Keturah, which they were heathen. They're doing it. The Lord ain't trying to wake them up. We ain't going in no Arab communities try to wake the Arabs up, the Ishmaelites up, or the 6 sons of Keturah. We don't even know what they mix among them Arabs, man. The word Arab means mix, Arab. It says of Israel, of swarm of locusts, other animals. Okay, so now let's come back. Let me let you listen to a little bit of this. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, I'm gonna let you listen to this. Listen up.
We'll get into it. Why don't you talk about the pedophiles in the church? What about this or what about that? And it's like, it's a great way to not deal with problems. Well, we're gonna deal with some problems tonight. Let's deal. Yeah. All right, I am bringing up the screen here first. Since we were, let's start with Othal Wallace. Start with Othal Wallace. So I'm bringing up one of the stories about him. And this is an update. Now, you were the one actually told me that the story had been updated. And can you give some background to this? I did a whole live stream on this, so I talked about ozone. But can you give some background, and then I'm going to read some of this article. What's some of the background? Why do they need to know about this story?
Yeah, so this story is interesting because it kind of connects to me with Quintez Brown, which we'll touch on later, hopefully. In the way that they dealt with more militant, armed, guns rights type of groups, which is actually a little scary now. This is where that Black people is. This is, I think, one of the scariest points out of all these stories that we're going to cover.
You see how I connected that Black, group with the guns, how somehow they're Israelites. All right. This is the guy speaking to San Miguel TV. Like I said, he was a former member of the ICGJC. He became disenchanted about the whole thing. And now his wrath, hatred, whatever you want to call it, his focus is on any of the Israelite groups. Like I did something bad to him. I didn't do nothing bad to you. You chose to get with a demonic cult, the ICGJC. You could have came and talked to me, and I could have told you, look, you need to leave that now because they're gonna fuck you over. Okay, so let's listen to a little bit more. And like I said, you notice how they connect a group. If a guy was in the audience, guy might be a part of a particular group or a guy that shoots up people, and he stood in the crowd for 5 minutes. Guess what? He's an Israelite. He was an Israelite. And so these guys are stretching. And then we always say about vocab, why don't you talk about, this is not about the gospel. This is not about the gospel. You go on one particular group, you'd have no problem with the LGBTQ community. You have no problem with, men, women, Black women, white women, whatever, with the abortion. They're actually killing babies. Now there's legislation where they said you can kill your baby after the baby is born, delivered. And I think you got 10 weeks, which is almost too much. You got a newborn baby that's healthy, and you can say, oh, I want the baby to die. Nothing's going to come out of his mouth against that, because we believe that we can't prove it, but we believe he was set up. He was set up by his hidden masters, I'll call him, to make. See, he can't really make us. He can't go into the scriptures and show us, well, you're going off on that. You can't. We're not really Israelites. Oh, I see it. He's not sophisticated enough with the scriptures to do that. None of them are. None of them are. So they send this guy. His thing is to what's the word? Is to debunk the whole Israelite thing. After he does that, if he does, he's not going to do it. But let's say all these Israelites say, you know what, we came to the light. We want to be Christians now. We want to be Protestants. Put on a suit and tie, go back to that slave mentality and go to church. Who else is he going to get on? That's the number one enemy to this system. The biggest threat to this system is a spiritual threat, because this is a change of worlds. Let's listen to a little bit more.
It's more dangerous. This is violent, militant, ready to attack. A state of mind that's like you know, we're going to take over this nation from within. They read Daniel chapter 2, verse 44, which says that the Lord is starting a nation within another nation or something like that. Which
That is not in Daniel 2. It's not in Daniel 2. And that shows you that he's not, you know, well groomed in the scriptures. And he maybe knew it, but he's stretching. This is called stretching. That's why Vocab is willing to work with this guy, which this guy is an atheist. And he's not, Vocab is not going after the atheists. He's not debating against them. So let me do this. Let me let you listen to a little bit more.
they interpret as this nation is starting in America, you know, and we're going to come from within. We're going to infiltrate all parts of this world, you know.
Okay, let's look up the word infiltrate. Infiltrate. Let's look up the word infiltrate. Infiltrate. Let's see what the word means. Okay. Infiltrate. Enter or gain access to an organization. And that's what's happening to all the Israelite group. All of you have been infiltrated. You got guys that you're cool with. These guys are not for you. They are set up to get on the inside, rock the fringes, you know, say Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah. You know, even read the scriptures and, you know, those are, so you got to watch everybody, man. It said infiltration, enter or gain access to an organization, place, etc., surreptitiously and gradually build up in the ranks, especially in order to acquire secret information. You know, if you got guns and, you know, you going out to the shooting range or whatever. What does, let me see. What is an example of infiltration? Infiltrate is defined as to pass through gaps, particularly into enemy lines, or in the case of liquid passage through a substance. An example of infiltration is for an army to pass through weak points an enemy's line and seize the enemy city. I don't like that. What does infiltration mean in business? What, how do you say the word infiltration? What happens during infiltration? What can cause infiltration in lungs? Let me try this one. Infiltration occurs when surface water, I don't want that. Let me go to this one. Let's get a little bit more information. So in order, and free infiltrate anything, that means when you want to expand on that definition, it means we go like we're with a group. Like, you know, certain leaders are saying, I want you to not wear the fringes no more, and I want you to go and join the police force and then become chief of police, and then we'll surprise them. And when you become chief of police or commissioner or mayor, and that's what the illuminated ones are doing. You know, look up what's this guy, Klaus Schwab. He had made a statement concerning the governor, the president of Canada. What is this guy, Trudeau? He said, we got young men like Trudeau and half of the cabinet. You got to get into the cabinet, because what their goal is to take over the world, is to get up in high offices. All right. Get up in the high offices, and then through policy, you know, once you're in you're a governor, you're a mayor, you're a president, you know, once you get in that high office, you like Woodrow Wilson. He was the one that signed off on the Federal Reserve Act, which led to the Federal Reserve Note and the Federal Reserve System, which is National Bank, Federal Reserve Bank. And then when he did it, he said, I forget the exact phraseology, but somebody can put it in there. He said that he undermined his country, and really he didn't know it. He didn't realize it until after the fact. They set him up. He was a college professor, I believe, in Princeton University. And this is what they do to all these presidents and governors. They make them popular. You know, with Clinton. Clinton went on the City Hall show playing the saxophone. You know, he's doing this. He was with everybody. So everybody loved this guy, and that shows you the weak mentality of an average American. They sucker like this. They building this guy up, Kolinsky, whatever his name is, of Ukraine. They're saying this guy is a new Thomas Jefferson. He's a new Washington D.C. George Washington, excuse me. But how did they get up in there? Through infiltration. So to infiltrate, okay, to enter or become established and gradually or unobtrusively, usually for subversive purposes. To pass troops in, I almost read that, to pass into through, cause, to enter, permeate, pass through, filter. But bottom line is, it's somebody that's not a part of your organization, that gets a part of your organization, plays like he's down with it to get up in the rankings, and like I said, you guys can't be talking the best. Look, the best type of way you got to be as an Israelite prophet is to be by yourself. Go home, study, do the videos, teach. If you got a job, you work at your job, and that's it. And repeat. You get with, oh, yo, brother, let's get together and have some drinks, man. Let's go bowling. It doesn't mean that if a guy says it, that means he's an infiltrator, but that's how infiltrators get in. They get on your good side. You know, you get the trust. You put your God. Damn, man, hold up. Bear me for a minute. Okay, I had to get that out. Let me see, where the hell did I go? Okay, I'm back over here. Anyway, to infiltrate, and I said, I'm gonna say it again. And the scriptures even say, Galatians 2, one scripture comes to mind, Galatians 2. Like I said, every camp has infiltrators in it, okay? Every camp, my camp, your camp, his camp, every camp has infiltrators, and not just one. You have many infiltrators. Like I said, the way to carry yourself is to be pretty much, you have few friends, and then your friends, you got to know a guy for 20, I said this years ago, you got to know a guy for at least 20 years before you begin to consider him being your friend. All right, 20 years. All right. So going back to San Miguel, he said that we're infiltrating. That means we got people, we got Israelites in the city council that's moving up in rank that went to law school. You know, they're deputy mayors, and Holcomb, a New York governor, all right, she might be an Israelite. She might be rocking her fringes behind closed doors. And we ain't infiltrating no goddamn body. If anybody's doing the infiltrating, it's these elites that's doing the infiltrating, man. And see, Americans, you stupid ass Americans, you don't understand how conspiracies work. These other old nations, these European nations, they know how conspiracies work. Canada knows how. See, that's Satan. And they'll take out a. Okay. See, I'm kind of all over the place. But anyway, he said that we're infiltrating, we're taking the kingdom from the inside. And once the guy becomes president, then we'll come behind the scenes and say, look, you're under the kingdom of the Israelites because we infiltrated you. Your president, Biden, is really he's an Ephraimite. You know what I'm saying? He's an Ephraimite that came up in the ranks. See, Trump, you see how stupid that sounds? So this guy's stretching, man. So let me find this again. Let me find this again. Okay, this is there. That's not what I want. Bear me for a minute. I guess I got to do it this way.
Politics to police force, all of that. So
give me one example of that. He said that. He said, we're going to get the kingdom from the inside out, meaning you're going to have Israelites, I'm going to say it again, that take their fringe garments off, put on police, go to college, become lawyers and so, all these governors and these mayors and deputy mayors and deputy governors and vice presidents and military, they're all they're secret Israelites. Do you hear how stupid this is? This is called stretching, okay? Let me let you listen to it some more and I'll read the article.
This gets a little bit more militant with Othal Wallace. He became a Hebrew Israelite about 2021. The story happened in 2021. I forget what date exactly, but he basically shot a police officer. He was already on social media, very anti-police. You know the type, Hebrew Israelite. So they're extreme. This guy is one of the most extremes that I've seen. Out of all.
What camp was he a part of? He wasn't part of GMS. He wasn't part of GMS. That's for damn sure. So let me come back to this. It said the origins of dreadlocks. Some of the earliest depictions of dreadlocks date back to 1500 BCE and Acrotera, modern Santorini, Greece. Corinth is a part of the Greece. That's why the Apostle Paul said that, because you had a lot of men that were listening to coming up under Paul that had the long hair, and they most likely had dreadlocks. So that's why the Apostle Paul made that statement, because that was a custom of those particular Greeks, because the origin goes back to the Greeks. And 500 BCE in Africa, we're not Africans, all right? It was also found in Crete, now part of Greece. Going back to 1 Corinthians 11 chapter, Paul said that a man's not supposed to have long hair. Frescoes discovered on the Aegean island of Terra depict individuals, heathens, with long braided hair or long dreadlocks. The only time a man can have long braided hair is if he's under a vow of the Nazarene, all right? So let me go to images. That's an Elamite. That's an Elamite. Okay, she's out of order. Well, he's a heathen, so he can do that. That's a Hamite. Let me see. I don't know if this is a Gadite, but the Gadites were practicing heathen ways. This is Gad. They were like I said, they had dreadlocks, but they were eating dog. Okay, look at this. Now this is complete madness. This is madness right here. This is madness. Look at this. This is a Hamite right here. Another Hamite. The Hamite. Or what appears to be a Hamite. Jake done made it a fashion statement. They done made it a fashion statement because we're not, following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Ain't supposed to be looking like this. We're not supposed to be looking like this. Be honest. Would you deal with a chick that looked like this? And if you are, you need. Jake does what the world tells him to do. The scripture said, "Love not the." These are I will guess that these are Egyptians with the dreads, which are heathens. Learn not the way of the heathen. All right. So now let's come back over here. Now you know what I'm gonna do? Let me go into the story to see if he's an actual Israelite. So I put in Israelite. I'm gonna cut this short. Israel. Okay. He was a part of the NFAC. Matter of fact, let me do that first. Because the head guy at the NFAC, let me see, NFAC. Okay, this is what he was a part of. A 29-year-old Wallace fled from this scene after the shooting, and a multi-agency manhunt was launched. Police said Wallace could be driving a gray, 2016 Honda California tags. No, he's in California if he's originally from Florida. Daytona Beach police said Wallace is a member of the NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition, which we haven't seen them in seen that group. They came out with the guns. When the guy, the leader, I forget the leader's name, Jam Master Jay, I believe, yeah, Jam Master Jay. When he first came on the scene, he was pushing that Kemetic stuff. Then all of a sudden, he became an Israelite. Now, we knew he wasn't a real Israelite because he called on the name of Yahweh. So we clearly believe he was set up. Now he's out of the picture because why? Because people woke up to him. You got a lot of Jake that was following this guy. It says a black militia. It didn't say nothing about him being a member of the Hebrew Israelites. A black militia, according to the Facebook profile, which is under the name of Ozone. Ozone is not a Hebrew name. Wallace is not a Hebrew name. If he was part of a particular group and he had a Hebrew name, they would say he's part of the ABC group, and his government name is such and such, Kwame Dexter, but his Hebrew Israelite name was Joel Ben Gad or something like that. They would have said that. He has a criminal record in Florida, including domestic violence, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and aggravated battery on a pregnant person charges. Now let's go back. Let's go here to Israel. Israel. Okay, this is what the reference is to Israel, right? It says, okay, it says Wallace Facebook profile says he is originally from Gainesville, Florida, lives in Hollywood, Florida. The Facebook pages several photos of Wallace with his children. His Facebook profile lists his name as Othal Wallace, son of Yah. The one Westers don't use the word Yah. Yah is not son of Yah. Yah is not the name of the Most High. The Most High's name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Bishop Nathaniel. He'll tell you. Let me read a little bit more, then I'm gonna close it. He adds on Facebook, I am a child of the Most High, Kwam Yasha Allah. Obviously, he got it from watching our videos. But saying Kwam Yasha Allah does not mean you're a part of an Israelite group, that you went on the highways and the byways, that you kept the Passover and the high holy days. You got people that just said, I'm a Hebrew. They don't keep the Passover, they don't keep the Sabbath, the new moons, any of that. You know, I remember when Rocky came out, I saw a lot of white boys dressing up just like Rocky, man. When Michael Jackson came out with that red and black leather jacket, everybody mama had it, man. That just shows you what fame does. You see a person, he's famous, you follow and you mimic him. And that just shows you the fame that we have. You know, we're ubiquitous. We're all over the goddamn place. It said the phrase is commonly used by members of the Black Hebrew. I'm not a Black, I'm an Israelite or a Hebrew Israelite. They didn't say he was a part of it. He said he's a child of the Most High. And then he says, Kwam Yasha Allah. Obviously, he saw a video of one of the One West groups. And then they go and say the phrase is commonly used by members of the Black Hebrew Israelites. And they got a term called guilty by association. So Esau has power in his words. Now this guy, Miguel TV and Vocab Malone, they said he was a Hebrew Israelite. No, he was not a Hebrew Israelite. He was a member of the NFAC. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Hebrew Israelite movement is rooted in Black Judaism, which goes back to the 1800s, right? By Black Christians, like I said, 99% of the people, 99% of the people that are part of Israel had a Christian background. So this group right here in the 1800s, Black Christians from the South Pentecostal Holiness Movement, they claim to have received a revelation. America's recently in emancipation, slaves were God's chosen people. Why? Deuteronomy 28, one scripture, the true Hebrews according to Black Judaism doctrine. When the kingdom of Israel was destroyed, the Israelites were first scattered across the African continent. Yeah, we fled from, well, we had communities in there before the 70 AD, but after 70 AD, you had Israelites that fled into Africa. Did not Joseph and Mary flee into Egypt? Because there was a big Israelite community out there. We're all over the place. And then selectively targeted by enemy African tribes who captured and sold them to European slave traders for bondage in the New World. Deuteronomy 28 and 68, Deuteronomy 28, 32, Deuteronomy 28, 47. So there's no connection between this guy. He's just a guy. See, look at him. He's a worldly dude. Where's the fringes at? Huh? Where's the fringes? No fringes. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. It went a little long, but I'm gonna say shalom.